Hello, and welcome to QuickTale English. Today, we start a new adventure far beneath the city streets in The City Under the Ground. Mark was 25 years old and worked as a delivery driver during the day. But at night, he was an urban explorer. He loved finding forgotten places in Central City, abandoned buildings, empty factories, and especially the old dark subway tunnels. He was always looking for the hidden stories of the city. He carried a strong flashlight, a thick rope, and a camera. He often told himself, the most interesting things are always below the surface. One wet Tuesday evening, Mark found a rusty maintenance grate behind a closed shopping center. It was poorly secured, and his curiosity immediately took over. He pulled the grate aside, revealing a small dark hole leading down. This wasn't a subway line. It was an older brick tunnel, too small for trains. It was marked with strange symbols he had never seen before. He carefully climbed down the rope, his flashlight beam cutting a path through the dust. The air quickly grew colder and wetter. The tunnel went deeper than any maintenance shaft he had explored. After walking for nearly an hour, he noticed a change. The rough, damp brick walls became smoother, covered in clean black stone. He stopped at a dead end, where a large section of the stone wall was covered in intricate metallic lines that glowed faintly, like veins of blue light. Mark reached out to touch the stone. Suddenly, a section of the floor beneath his feet gave way. It wasn't a trap. It was a poorly secured panel covering a ventilation shaft. He cried out in surprise as he fell quickly down a short, steep chute, landing hard on a metallic floor below. The sound of his fall echoed with a strange ringing resonance. He sat up, his head spinning, and shone his flashlight around. He was no longer in a tunnel. He was in a vast open space, a massive cavern. Above him, the ceiling was too high to see, but the area was lit by thousands of glowing pale green fungi growing on the stone walls, creating a soft, mysterious light. Below, a network of elevated walkways, platforms, and bridges stretched out, connecting immense stone towers. This was not an abandoned space. This was a hidden city built entirely underground. The air was cool and smelled of fresh rock and metallic dust. Mark was standing on a quiet side passage. He could see people in the distance, dressed in dark, simple clothes, moving quickly along the main walkways. They carried small, glowing devices. The city felt old, powerful, and very much alive. This city was called Aethelgard. As he watched, a small sudden noise made him spin around. A girl who looked about 20 was standing silently behind him. She wore thick boots and a dark, multi-pocketed jacket. Her eyes were sharp and immediately scanned his modern clothes and his camera. "You should not have entered this way," she said, her voice low and serious. "The gate is sealed for a reason. You are now registered." "Registered? What do you mean?" Mark asked, scrambling to his feet. "I fell. I need to get back to Central City." The girl, whose name was Lira, shook her head. "It doesn't work that way. Ethelgard is not a tourist spot. To leave the city through the proper routes, you must participate in the Trial of Whispers. You are now part of the game." Lira explained the situation quickly. The city was controlled by an unseen figure, the Guardian. Anyone who entered without permission automatically became a player in a dangerous required game, a quest to retrieve or activate a crucial element of the city's power. It was a matter of earning your freedom or becoming a permanent citizen. The current task was to retrieve the Sunstone, a powerful energy regulator from the Forbidden Sector, before the Guardian's monitors located Mark. "It is a dangerous game," Lira warned. "But I need to win my own freedom. I know the shortcuts. Come with me or stay here and face the monitors." Mark felt a rush of fear and pure adventurous excitement. He had dreamed of finding a story like this. "Okay," he said, holding his flashlight tight. "The Sunstone. Where do we start?" Lyra led him away from the main thoroughfares, guiding him through narrow, dark service tunnels that smelled faintly of copper. They moved quickly, using the shadows. Suddenly, Lyra froze. "Monitors!" she whispered. Down the tunnel, two figures in reflective black armor approached, carrying small, bright lanterns. They walked in perfect silence. We need to pass the iron gates. It's the fastest way to the forbidden sector, but it requires the code of echoes. They reached the huge heavy metal door with a small circular panel in the center. Mark had to solve a simple puzzle. Lira recited a complex B1 level phrase in English that required finding three specific keywords: shadow, silence, and light, hidden in a cryptic riddle about Aethelgard's history. Mark, using his concentration and Lira's guidance, managed to input the correct sequence by pressing symbols on the panel. The heavy door groaned and slowly slid open. They rushed through, avoiding the monitors by only seconds. Finally, they reached a small, deep chamber containing the Sunstone. It was a simple pedestal holding a single pulsating crystal that emitted the same pale green light as the fungi. It was beautiful and clearly the power source of the entire vast city. As Mark reached out to take the Sunstone, a loud, amplified voice echoed throughout the chamber, seemingly coming from the very walls. The trial is complete. Mark, the accidental player, and Lira, the reluctant guide, have succeeded. Now you must make your choice. Stay and be one of us, or leave and forget this world forever. Lira grabbed the Sunstone, which immediately fit into a pocket in her jacket, increasing its glow. We leave, she declared. We earned the right. Lira quickly found a high, narrow ventilation shaft. Using Mark's rope, they climbed quickly, leaving the immense, silent city behind them. They surfaced through a manhole, back into the rainy, loud chaos of Central City. Mark stood on the street, breathing the damp city air. The adventure felt like a dream, but then he reached into his pocket and pulled out the Sunstone. It was a small, perfect, pale green crystal, still pulsating with soft light. He looked at Lira. "The game is over," he said. "The game of freedom, yes, but the journey has just begun." She gave him a look of promise. Mark looked down at the Sunstone in his hand, then up at the anonymous lights of Central City. He knew his days as a simple delivery driver were definitely over. The hidden city was real, and he would certainly return. Thank you for joining QuickTale English. Subscribe for more adventures and continue practicing your B1 English. See you next time.